The MP-40 shreds in Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies, but with 70 levels to go and 7 attachments to use, it can be a bit overwhelming knowing what exactly the best loadout is. But don't worry, I've got you covered. This is going to be my weapon guide for the MP-40 in Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies. We'll go over every attachment you can get on the gun and give you guys my recommendations on what you should be using. Keep in mind, these are just my recommendations, so if you guys use something different, be sure to let me know in the comments section down below. So let's get into it. Now I will have timestamp for each attachment, so that way if you just want to know about a certain section, you can use that to check it out. And keep in mind, this is just for zombies, this is not for multiplayer. For zombies, we don't have the proficiency, the kit, or the ammo type, so there will only be 7 attachments on each of your weapons. So starting with the muzzle for the MP-40, you can get the F8 stabilizer, the Marauder flash hider, Mercury silencer, number 3 rifle brake, strife compensator, M1929 silencer, or the recoil booster. Now when it comes to your muzzle, the main stats that these affect is your range, your fire rate, your sprint to fire time, and your recoil. So of course you definitely want to make sure that you have your fire rate up and your recoil not affected too much. However, there are some attachments later on that will increase your recoil for both vertical and horizontal. Overall, I think the fire rate change is going to be the most important, so I decided to go with the recoil booster. This is going to give you an increase of fire rate as well as a slight decrease to horizontal recoil. Next, moving on to the barrel attachments for the MP-40, you can get the Crossnick 317mm 04B, the VDD 285mm shrouded, the Crossnick 221mm 01B, or the VDD 189mm short. Now the barrels are pretty interesting for the MP-40 in Vanguard Zombies because unlike Cold War, your damage buff is not tied to your barrel. It's actually tied to a different attachment. So there's one attachment that I know you definitely don't want to use, and that's going to be the VDD short. It's going to take away your headshot damage bonus, and in zombies, your headshot multiplier is huge. The amount of damage that your body shot does compared to your headshot is just insane. Now the main stats that the barrel attachments affect on the MP-40 is your sprint to fire time, your horizontal recoil, hip fire accuracy, and your range. And of course, you also have one that affects bullet velocity and another one that affects your headshot multiplier. So with that being said, I decided to go with the Crossnick 317mm 04B. This is going to give us a slight sprint to fire time decrease, but we can change that with another attachment. And again, we're going to get that horizontal recoil buff, idle sway buff, and a decrease to hip fire accuracy. But again, those stats we can all change with other attachments. Now next up, going to the optics, this is probably the attachment that is the most subjective. Pretty much you can use whatever you want. So for the optics for the MP-40, we have the NIDAR Model 47, the G16 2.5X, the MK3 sun filter, the 1913 variable, both with the 4x zoom all the way up to the 8x zoom, the slate reflector, the M19 4x flip, the MK12 night vision, the monocular reflector, MK3 Mod 2 sun filter, the ZC2 135X lens, the ZF4 3.5X rifle scope, the M38 Slate 2.5X custom, the SVT 40 PU scope 3 to 6X, Jesus names, MK3 reflector, Saturn 1.35X lens, MK18 sun filter, 1229 Slate 325 custom, the MK8 reflector, the Crossnick ISO 2M, or the Crossnick ISO 1M. There is tons of optics for the weapons in Vanguard Zombies. Again, it comes down to personal preference. I actually prefer the slate reflector because I prefer the small amount of zoom, but with the clean red dot sight. Next up, moving on to the stock for the MP-40, we have the Crossnick 33M folding, the removed stock, the VDD 34mm padded, the VDD 34mm, or the VDD 35mm wire grip. These are going to be all the stocks you can get on the MP-40. Now the stats that are most affected by stocks would be your movement speed, sprint to fire speed, your recoil, and your hip fire accuracy. These are pretty much all the stats that are going to be affected by your stock choice. So the one I decided to go with is the VDD 34mm padded. This is going to give me a decrease in movement speed and decrease in sprint to fire time, but will give me a boost to my vertical, horizontal recoil, centering speed, as well as flinch resistance. Next up, for the underbarrel for the MP-40, all the attachments you can get here are the M1930 Strife Angled, the Carver foregrip, the SG98 Compact, the M1915 Steady, the Mark 6 Skeletal, the M1941 Handstop, GF59 Flashlight, or the SMLE pistol grip. These are going to be all the underbarrels for the MP-40. Now, the main stats that are affected by your underbarrel are going to be your sprint to fire time, your recoil, and your hip fire accuracy. So with all that being said, the underbarrel I went with is the M1941 handstop. This is going to give me an increase to vertical and recoil control, as well as a decrease to hip fire accuracy. Next up, moving on to the magazine for the MP-40, you can get the 9mm 24 round fast mag, the 7.62 Gorenko 32 round mag, the 9mm 64 round drums, or the 8mm Kurz 32 round mags. Now the magazines are pretty interesting because in Vanguard Zombies, your damage boost is tied to your magazine, unlike your barrel in previous zombies. So you really have to choose in this situation whether you want more ammo or whether you want that 40% damage boost, which is huge. Personally, I prefer to go with the damage boost, so I went with the 8mm Kurz 32 round mag. This is going to give me a huge damage boost, 20% damage range, as well as increased bullet velocity and vehicle damage. We will get a decrease to movement speed and aim down sight time, as well as a decrease to our recoil and hip fire. This is also going to give us increased penetration. So with all that being said, with the other attachments, that's why we chose what we did. We basically built our entire build around this magazine selection because we wanted that damage boost. And next up for the final attachment, we have the rear grips. For the MP-40, you can get the stippled grip, the pine tar grip, the leather grip, taped grip, rubber grip, granular grip, fabric grip, grooved grip, hatched grip, or the polymer grip. Now the main stats that are affected by your rear grip are of course going to be your aim down sights time, your recoil control, as well as your idle sway control and flinch resistance. With that being said, the best rear grip for the MP-40 I went with is the leather grip to just give you that base aim down sights time increase. So if we put all of that together with all the attachments, we'll do a quick overview. The best loadout for the MP-40 in Vanguard Zombies, in my opinion, is going to be the recoil booster for your muzzle, the crossneck 317mm 04B for the barrel. Optics, I chose the slate reflector, but it's optional. The stock, I went with the VDD 34mm padded. The underbarrel, the M1941 handstop. The magazine, the 8mm Kurz 32 round mag. And for the rear grip, we used the leather grip. This is what I think the best loadout for the MP-40 in Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And again, these are my recommendations on what I would use. This is what has worked well for me, and I've got the gun gold already. But if this guide did help you out, be sure to let me know in the comments section. And even though Call of Duty Vanguard you might have to pay for, likes and subs are free, so do the thing. If you want to check out more weapon guides like this one, be sure to stay tuned right here on YouTube. Or you can also check out my short guides that I'll be posting up on TikTok as well as Instagram. I'll also be live streaming Vanguard on Twitch. All the links will be down in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.